Going now to Mike Solomon in Cape Town. Good evening to you, Mike. Perhaps just a big view from you of the meaning of this Anglo move and where Anglo is now. Someone remarked this week that, of course, Mondi, the paper company, used to be a relatively small part of the Anglo portfolio. Its market cap is now bigger than Anglo's. So the meaning of Anglo and its future and the future of the industry.
David, the meanings are differential, and it depends on where you're looking at Anglo American. Mark is doing what he should be doing as a chief executive and protecting the interests of his shareholders. However, if one looks at the implications for South Africa, I think that they're much more serious. If one considers the fact that prior to 1994, Anglo American was the greatest of the once great mining industry in South Africa. At that point in time, between Anglo, who had significant stakes in three other mining companies, JCI, at one point in time General Mining and Finance, which became Sancorp, GenCorp, and Goldfields and others, owned something like 70% of the economy, which included, of course, companies like Mondi and Southern Sons, the tourism industry, Southern SAB, the media industry. And with transformation that has taken place, obviously that power base has become dismantled. From where we sit, though, looking at the departure of Anglo American, I think there's much more serious implication for mining in South Africa. The Minister may well say that this presents an opportunity for black empowerment in South Africa, and doubtless this is the case. But one has got to question as to why the largest of the mining companies, the once great mining companies in South Africa, are progressively moving out and investing elsewhere. Anglo has shed Kumba. It's a higher cost asset than Minas Gerais in Rio. But its departure, I think, has been progressive. Its shedding of Anglo coal, I think, has significant implications for the South African mining industry, the coal industry. One has got to look at what happened to Optimum Coal and where that company has gone. So the jostling for who actually gains these assets is one thing, but the view of the market, of the South African mining industry in the international market, I think this has very, very serious implications.
Mike, how realistic is it? You said the empowerment doubtless could happen. One also has to ask the question about some of Anglo's other assets, selling the part of Amplats to Sibanye. You say, well, if they can't make it work, who else is going to make it work? I mean, are we looking here at taxpayers' money being poured into assets that big mining companies can't make work and therefore are probably doomed to fail? Or is it like a Sibanye, where a Sibanye can come in and somehow make it work where the previous company didn't?
That's not going to happen. Taxpayers' money is not going to happen. The operators like Sibanye are going to clean up in this environment. Sibanye has already announced its intentions of looking into coal and possibly into base metals as well. And they have backers that have got deep pockets, and Neil Frenneman is a particularly good operator. So they will find homes. I think that the question that we've got to ask ourselves is who's going to house these assets? Who's going to pay for the black empowerment? We've already gone through a phase of black empowerment where many of the assets that were sold originally are now underwater. We have a very, very small financial services sector in South Africa that has been badly burnt by the junior boom going up to 2008 and what has happened after 2008. And we have international investors that are not investing in South Africa.
Yeah.
So the real question is, who is going to pay for this? And the quality, if one is going to looking at the spirit and sentiment behind black empowerment, is Anglo American leaving these shores effectively going to improve the lot of its workers, of the general equity and benefit to our people in South Africa?
Mike,
it's a moot point.
Some of these issues are in a sunset industry. There are parts of the industry which are in sunset stage. Is there a sense that the government in South Africa is enabling this, or making it so that the sun is going down faster than it needs to? Don't we need some dramatic policy action here to try and pull back that perception of a lack of certainty, a lack of policy sympathy?
I'm not sure that one can actually answer that constructively. If you look at South Africa's contribution to global mineral production in 1990 on Mandela's release, we contributed something like 44% of global mineral production. Today we contribute about 4%. Our contribution to global equity markets was about 1.4%. Today it's less than 0.04%. So statistically, our industry has become, in global terms, more or less irrelevant. And so we become terribly inwardly focused in terms of what we do with this industry. I don't believe that it's necessarily a sunset industry. I think that we have a perception problem that is going to be very, very difficult to fix and to bring in new investors in the short to medium term. We've just come out of a very mooted Indaba last week in Cape Town, and the signals aren't good.
Mike, if you were the minister, what would you do in the next month in terms of announcements and policy directions?
Well, look, you know, the president has started this Phakisa program, which is a very broad-ranging program with wide and active support from the industry. There have been 120 people that were locked away last year in a golf estate in Limpopo, trying to sort out, identify A, what the structural issues in the industry were, and B, what we're going to do about them. The Phakisa report is still under wraps. It hasn't been released yet, and so it remains to be seen what the government is going to do about it. From my side, I wonder as to whether the correct questions are being asked right now, and it's too early to say as to whether the President's Commission in Phakisa, whether there's follow through for Phakisa, whether there's going to be subscription from the industry and of course investors as to the solutions that they're going to come up with. But I'm hopeful that something positive will come out of Phakisa, and I trust that the President and his minister are going to take the process forward.
Well, that's Mike Solomon. Thanks for joining us, Mike, from Cape Town. He is mining analyst and chairman of the Southern African Institute of Mining and Metallurgy.